the Gandhi family is the problem of the Congress party because it isn't a political party anymore. It has become a private business.
How do you look at the current leadership of PM Modi?
He hasn't governed, he's ruling, and that's not a good thing. None of the political parties are allowing in younger people. I would cut down the size of every ministry by more than half and give those officials that you take out of those ministries the job of traveling to rural India, to villages, and to improve the system of education, because unless our schools improve, there is no hope at all.
Hello and welcome to India TV. I am Shivangi, and with me today we have Ms. Tavleen Singh, known political journalist, columnist and an author. She is known for her, sharp commentary and political insights. So hello ma'am, welcome to India TV.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ma'am, since you started reporting in the early 1970s. How you see, the whole journalism has evolved in India?
Well, obviously technologically it's changed completely, but what makes me very sad is that I see so little real reporting. When I started my career in journalism, the emergency had just been declared, and despite that, we were able to challenge Indira Gandhi and do some real reporting. Ask anyone else, not just me, but everybody did the reporting. And even if there was press censorship, etc., we tried to defy that. We did whatever we could. I don't see that happening anymore in India, and that makes me very sad.
Well, that is sad. But ma'am, you've been in the field of political journalism and it is often polarized. How did you manage to stay objective in that?
I think that I've never really taken sides. I did take sides against Indira Gandhi during the emergency because that was so wrong. But I think that if you consciously try not to take sides, it is possible.
So ma'am, which story of yours was the most difficult for you to cover and challenging, and why?
I haven't thought about it, but I think that really probably Operation Black Thunder, which was after Blue Star, where I went into I used to write for an English newspaper, a British newspaper called the Sunday Times. And I happened not to be there when they attacked the Golden Temple for the second time. And so I had to get a story. It was my deadline. So I went into the Golden Temple, there was a curfew inside there, etc. And, I nearly lost my life, I think, because I was at a point where I couldn't get out. And the curfew was suddenly lifted. And for the first time in my life, I got quite scared. And I thought, but then I saw the terrorists who were camping there, and because I'm a Sikh and speak Punjabi, I managed to get out with their help. That was very scary. And then what else? I've done a lot of kind of that sort of thing, but that's the only time that I was really scared.
So ma'am, you've written many books as well, and in your book Darbar, you've offered a critique of the Nehru-Gandhi dynasty. How do you look at the future of Congress without the dominance of this family?
I wish that the dominance of this family would end. The Congress party has a very bright future without them.
Okay.
Because it isn't a political party anymore. It has become a private business, which is just there to promote the Gandhi children. If they would get out of the way, there is a real room in India, there's a vacuum for a liberal, democratic, healthy political party like the Congress party once was, because the BJP is not that party. So you need somebody on the left of the BJP, not left in a communist way, but and you need people. I have seen on my travels really excellent young people who don't want to join the BJP because they don't like all the Hindu-Muslim thing, and who would love to join the Congress party if there was some chance of them moving up. But there isn't. They don't get literally beyond you. The most you can get is maybe Sarpanch or, an MLA. And so, that's very sad. So actually, the Gandhi family is the problem of the Congress party.
Okay. Well, that is what ma'am believes. Ma'am, moving on, how do you look at the current leadership of PM Modi in comparison to the other prime ministers that you've seen?
I think that he was an excellent prime minister for a while. I think that in the last year or so, he forgot that he was only a prime minister and not some kind of higher being. And so I'm not very impressed with what he has done lately. I actually supported him. I was considered a full Modi Bhakt because I was hoping that he would make the changes that the Congress party had failed to make in providing excellent education, in providing excellent health care, in changing the system of governance. We're still ruled is the right word. He hasn't governed, he's ruling. And that's not a good thing. What India needs are efficient people who can govern the country. An example of an efficient person who is governing is Nitin Gadkari, which is why you've had the excellent infrastructure being built. And I really hope that in the next, because I still prefer him to Rahul Gandhi, and so I'm still hoping that he will discover that what he has to do is govern and deliver on the economy, on jobs, on improving ordinary schools, on all of that.
So, ma'am, right now, social media has a great influence on the way we consume our information. Do you think it has a political or a negative, impact? What do you think?
I think that it's very important because it is the new public square. It's where you hear the voice of people who are not journalists and academics, etc. So it plays a role, but it's made the role of journalism, of real journalism, more necessary because there's a lot of rubbish on, on social media. And if we were doing proper reporting in India, which we are not doing, then we would be able to actually provide the real, possibility of covering this country as it should be covered, instead of, by just screaming at each other as people do on social media.
So, ma'am, if you could see a major reform in India's political, journey or in fact governance as well, what it could be?
Governance, I would cut down the size of every ministry by more than half and give those officials that you take out of those ministries the job of traveling to rural India, to villages, and to improve the system of education, because unless our schools improve, there is no hope at all that India will ever become a developed country. You need to improve the schools because at the moment the children that come out can barely read a novel. And with technology coming in, they read even less. So you need to, that's to me the most important reform is education, healthcare. And the other thing which, one of the reasons I supported Narendra Modi was the Swachh Bharat thing. But he seems to have forgotten about it. So wherever you go, now I've just come from a very poor country, Cambodia, and I didn't see one piece of litter anywhere that I traveled, and I drove around quite a lot. Sri Lanka, the same. In India, it's hard to find a street that is clean. So, we have to do, these are the things that governance is meant for, not to run big public sector companies.
Great. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your views. And we hope that our audiences like this interview. If yes, then do comment and let us know. Till then, keep watching India TV.